you look at the site, find people that are using mobile will find it difficult to navigate through your site, and it becomes a problem. People will no longer, move through your page. And you know that with the, revolution, the tech crazy revolution, or how the tech industry is advancing year by year, from 2000, early 2000 till now. We are still in the early 2000 though. But from early 2000 and okay, 2001, 2001, 2002, 3, when it was just, maybe I don't know the exact year, but it was just desktop, and then everybody was just, it was just all about HTML. It was just all about structure. Nobody, no, not no design, no styling. And then it was just for people, intelligent people that are using it for documentation and all. Then it left that era where Web 1. We entered Web 2. Then CSS, there was no need for us to make it look attractive. And then we're not finding out that, oh, mobile phone explosion. Everybody now has a mobile phone. No more Symbian and Java, all those phones that we're using now. And then there was need for us to start building our websites to accommodate every device. So that is just the brief, background of responsive design. So I showed us this screen example of, it's the same page, for then I showed us mobile and then desktop. And then this is also responsive design. Then I also explained why it's important for us to build for the mobile first, because we build with lower power devices in mind. Why? Two reasons. One, because if you check the amount, aside us that are coding and building pages, the average person living in the world uses his mobile phone more, because mobile, you can easily carry it around. You can be using it in your car, in your train, walking on the road, going to anywhere, kitchen, anywhere you are. We find out that now there's need for you to, it is important for you to make sure that people that are using your product or your site, especially the mobile, they can actually use navigate through. And then it's also more difficult to build for mobile. That's why people normally usually start with the mobile first, because trying to ensure that your site fits into the screen size is important. And then I also listed out some tools for responsive design, which are, we have the responsive unit, percentage, VW, viewport width, RAM. And then I also talked about the display properties, which are flex and grid. And then media queries. Okay, and I explained the syntax of media query, which I would still have to. Sorry, I didn't share my screen. Oh my God, sorry. I'm sorry, I forgot. It just came back now that I'm not sharing my screen. So I believe that you can see my screen now. I actually forgot, and I was just talking. So, and as I was explaining that some mobile design responsive design tools, the percentage, report with RAM, then our display properties, which are flex and grid, then to media queries, and then the syntax at media, and then screen, and the conditional statement, then the curly bracket. And then I went on to show us some, same site at different viewports. That's mobile, then tab, that's still a tab. And you can see their dimensions. 620 pixels, the width of the phone. This is a tab, 799, 800, almost the same thing. Then for desktop is 124 pixels. It could vary. We all have different sizes, widths for laptops. They are virtually different, but if you see that they are still in the same range, like the sizes of the screen, they are still actually in the same range. So you can see some highlights of the content and how they are side by side. Okay, this is some this is actually code, the code for what we just saw now. So maybe I would drop it later, something like that. But for now, let's leave this slide. So having to say that, also I went on to explain developer tools, dev tools. I didn't really go deep into that. So I just explained, some the developer tools. There's nothing on our site, so you will not really see anything. The developer tools, how to check, your code, and I also told us to go to this icon that seems to be like a device, the toggle device toolbar, and I was able to explain, how we can actually check for responsiveness. Maybe, for example, for we want to check what our page will look like on iPhone 12 Pro. The dimensions are already here. Samsung Galaxy 8 Plus. These are just some standard ones because they are popular. But whatever works on iPhone 12 will probably work on any other phone. For example, I'm just saying because it's an iPhone or Samsung, whatever phones that are here. If you have your own dimension, you can also put your own dimension and check it out to see how it's going to work on any device. So even for iPads, for your tabs, anything at all, you can come here to check out for responsiveness. I went ahead to show some tools. For example, you don't understand, you're just writing some CSS and you don't understand it. You can come here and then play around with everything, tick out the boxes, tick them in to, understand the entire what's going on, on the browser. So what is also very important for me to explain is the CSS box model. I think it's also on my slide. Let me just go to my slide. Okay. I know that we must have already been taught what the CSS box model entails. Like our screen now, I believe we know where our border is. We know where our content stays. Our padding, you can see it from this image. Our margin, all these things are very, very important. They're very, very important even in responsive design. So if you do not really, you know, you do not really get it, you have to really, maybe after the class, you can go back to the videos where you are taught and then refresh. Or there's YouTube, there's Google. So that's basically something like a refresher on what we have done so far. And we're able to create our HTML file, then linking with our CSS, and yes, we're able to then link it to our CSS. So if you don't already have that, I believe that okay, we are working together, we're learning together. So you can just get your own running. Why I just go through the should I still go through this let me go through these media queries again, especially for the syntax. So, but it's important you understand the box model. If you don't understand it, please still go back to fully, you know, comprehend everything. So I explained that for media queries, it follows this is the syntax at media. Let me remove this only. So at media is like you're telling the browser at media, and then we are telling the next the screen there we are seeing is you're telling the browser what type of device. This is a screen, it's for screen. You know, sometimes you will see prints and all those ones, we are not really concerned about all those ones. But at media, you know, is telling you, we are telling the browser now is screen. And then the and is for adding another a conditional statement to our media query. So in the first one, this at media screen only, when we put this only here, it means nothing else. I won't work with print or the other one. So we're saying at media screen and max width of 600 pixels. So we're simply telling our browser, when we at media, that is at media, which is a screen, and then we give it a conditional statement, which is max width. That is the maximum width. I think I gave an example, an logical example, where I said in a class, and I come to the class and I say, people of 13 years and below, stand up. So maybe I'll tell them to maybe wear a purple trouser or trouser or this or skirt. So the maximum age there in that class I want to work with is 13. That is 13 and below. But at the same time, if I still come to that same class and I say 13 at minimum, if you are at minimum of 13 years and above, I say at minimum age of 13, I'm still telling the class at 13 and above. So when you see when you see mean width, you're talking about that width and above. But when you see max width, you're talking about that width and below it. So I explained it. I even give an example of changing our body, the background color of our page and all. So I think I'm trying to remember if there's anything I'm missing out. But I told us that there are other things we can actually use instead of screen. There is print. Print is normally used for printers, instead, but we're not printing. Then screen is used for computer screens, tablets, smartphones, etc. And then all, we use it for all the media type devices. Then speech is for screen readers that read the page aloud. Sorry. So I think that's all. I remember that we used an example, this example that is still here. Excuse me, please. This example that is still here. We told the browser that at max width of 500 pixels, change the background to blue. So let me inspect it and then see whether that's mean at 500 pixels and below. We found out that if we increase it, it's not this way. If we if our browser becomes our screen becomes 500 pixels, it it changes to blue. But if we increase it above 500 pixels, it just goes back to the default color. But if I had set it, if I had given, I've set some, if I put something here, let's say our body, okay, our body, and I said, okay, also a background color of green. Yeah. And I save and I go back to our browser. Ah, Cherry first. Let me change this to, let's say, 700. I don't know, this is not showing. What am I making? Am I making mistake? Okay, okay. I don't know why this is not showing. But if it was so, maybe there's somewhere I'm missing something. Am I not missing something out? A
You
rule.
can refresh your page.
Okay, let me see if I open it again. I don't want to use this thing like that's open with this. Stupid. Okay, I think it's here. It's a browser issue. So you can see that the screen, once we are below max width of 500 pixels, that is 500 pixels and below, and then we begin to increase it. Once it hits 800, I increase it 800. Once it hits 800 and above, you can see that it changes to green. So these are the things I tried explaining that day before we got cut off that day. And then yes, syntax. And I also explained, I mentioned something. I said, somebody, at some point asked a question that, okay, is it that we'll now start building different pages for our desktop, mobile, and stuff like that? I said no. I said in cases like this, what we do is that we build for the mobile first, and then we use media query to now give the dimensions for higher screens, for higher screens. For example, I built for mobile first, and then it's okay on my phone, and then I now just use media queries and then add my fonts, add my all those things, image and all that. So these are the examples. I also taught float that day. Float was one of the, I think it was the early way of people used to, place things side by side. But we have passed that, we have passed that. Now let's what we are looking at now. All we are looking at is CSS grid and then CSS flex. Okay. I don't know that I should start with flex or I'll start with grid. And then okay, I know that before CSS flex and grid, we had some display properties such as block, inline, we use table, and then positioning, you know. So these are the some of the things that these are the layout modes before CSS flex and grid. But CSS flex and grid, they came out, most browsers support this Flexbus and all those things. So I think we'll just be moving over to that now, so that we don't waste time and all that. I just pray that I'm not forgetting anything. I'm not forgetting anything before we move on. Or okay, we will be looking at that, but before then we'll look at responsive images. Responsive images, and how do we make images responsive? Let me get an image from somewhere. A boy. No, I like boy. I like this boy. Okay. Okay. I'm done with you. I'm also done with you. So why? Okay, where is it now? Okay, see our portrait. So let me add it to our file, our HTML file. using the image tag. It's portrait. Okay. And you know our alt is a boy. For those who don't have ability to see the image. Please let me remove this media query design here. We can see this boy here. So I'm just going to use this example. The image is so large and all for our browser. So the properties that support responsive web design for images are, our width is what we use to resize our images. So we use, I think I remember when we are looking at responsive web design tools. I know I mentioned percentage, and then percentage is what one of the measurement units for responsive images. So what we normally do is to set the width of the image to 100%, and then set the height to auto. Yeah. So having done this, you can see that our what's going on with this? You can see that our image now covers the entire screen. Can we see what's happening to this image? Instead of
Yes,
this
ma'am.
image, yeah, you can see instead of this image now
Okay.
to, half of it will be covered, and then the other part will not be seeing the other part. But you can see that this image now is just resizing perfectly to the size of our browser. Can we see that? And then if I start increasing it again, it's actually enlarging and looking perfect as we just increase it. So we can see that for responsive design for
Wọ́n ní ṣé
responsive design for
má jalè pé ilé ni. Ah,
oh boy. So for responsive design for images, we actually use percent so that the images will be so fluid. That's the word. They'll be so fluid, just going and then resizing perfectly according to our brand. Even if I take it to the list screen, the boy is still standing and the image is still looking complete. Nothing else. The height is perfect. So these are the one of the properties on how we get um, images to look. I can see on the largest screen is so large, and normally if we remove this property, let me show you what will happen if we remove this property. These two properties. Now let's see what will happen to our image when we resize our browser. Okay, can you see now that we can't even see the image again? We are just seeing some parts, and as we increase, as if the image is unfolding, the other parts are unfolding. The other parts are unfolding just like that, and we continue like that. And the image is not fluid, it's not giving. Let me use that language. It's not giving. So we put back the properties we just used now as an example, and let's do it again to check to see if our image will be given. You can see our image is so fluid, just resizing according to the size of our browser. So these are the width properties. This is one of the width properties. So you can see that we can keep scaling on them up to be larger than this original.
I have a
Um,
question.
yeah, okay, go ahead.
okay.
All right. Why are we using auto for height and percentage for width? Can't we use
Okay.
percentage for height also?
Mm-hmm. What
Okay,
do you?
that's a very good question. If we use, do you know do you know what auto represent first of all?
Automatic
Automatics. So what does it mean? That's what I meant or mean.
is a system that will decide it. I think, if I'm not
Automatic.
wrong.
Okay. So if we use, normally what actually changes, it has nothing to do with the height, really. I don't know how to explain this thing now. Like you said
What
now,
you are supposed to explain?
it's like it's just width. We're just looking at the width. You know that when we talk about responsive design now, is yes. Oh,
This
we're
girl, you
looking
look
at
like
Okay.
you in it.
hmm? And the width, the width now is our focus in the sense of resizing the browser and then seeing everything. And why we put that height as auto, so that it just automatically fits. Do you understand? It just automatically fits with the whatever that is there, whatever the size it is.
All
It
right.
just
So then can we then know? Can we see what happens when
what
you
will
use
happen with
percentage for the height?
100%. Okay,
Yes.
let's see now. Let's see.
And if you can also see what happens when you use auto for both.
Okay.
I think it's coming over here. Yeah.
This image is actually very large.
I think it's the same thing
Can I
from what
chip
I'm
in?
seeing.
Yeah, okay, chip in, chip in.
I think you will not actually notice something now
Mm.
is when you have other content. So I guess your own that's the standard of image, like to make it responsive, like making the width 100%, then the height photo. But if you are changing otherwise, I think you will not notice anything. But when you have other
Yeah.
contents, like that's
Uh,
when
you know
your
that
this thing will be, I
yeah.
think.
Thank you. You know that because I used 100%, you can use any percentage. You understand? So not just because it's not working because I used 100. Just why it's working is because I used percent. I can actually reduce this thing to 80. I can use 70. Okay, let me try out 70 and then look at how it is. You can see that the image is 70 now, and it will still give me that fluid as long as I'm going that below that 70. It will still give me what want. Do you get?
All
It
right.
will give me what I want. Yeah. So it's immat what I'm not saying is immaterial that I used the highest. I can even increase it above 100 though, but it will just overpower and everything just looks so too big. But it's immaterial that I used 100%. I use 100% because it's just uh I'm teaching. Do you understand? Because sometimes now, for example, now in a div, now I want to uh, three images now. We are going to do it as an example now. Three images. We want to um, line them up like in a single line. I can use maybe 25, 25, 25, then use the remaining 25% for the padding and margin, all those, the spacing, and give it border, rounded corners, just look good. We're going to do cards now. It's coming clearer. So okay, so the person that asked that question, maybe before the end of the class, I'll be able to answer your question.
All right.
Okay, I'll be able to answer your question. Yeah. So let's see with Auto what it will give us. Auto.
Sorry, is your browser live or you have to refresh?
No, it's live. I opened with live server. Can you see?
Okay.
Yeah. So is that automatic is don't worry for that automatic before the end of the class. So I'll find the right way. The wisdom will come and then I'll explain it. So it's a very good question that you asked, but it's good to know what's happening. Understand? It's not just that you're learning, you're just learning. So okay, the next property that we'll be looking at is max width. Max width property. We already know that max width property is used to set um like the name max width. Magnum is the maximum width. Uh, sometimes if we just leave it at this width, if we just leave it at this width, 100%, 100%, 100%. How like put this thing now? And then I'm looking at it in on my system, and then I move over to my maybe to a large screen. And I move over to a large screen, and then the image will now continue to scale up on that screen, keep scaling up, becoming so big. But we don't want that. We want a scenario where once I give it a maximum width, so that irrespective of the screen or the browser, wherever you're displaying your image, your site, your image, it will not become so big.
Are you still with us, ma?
Yeah, Machi, can you hear us? Because I don't think people can hear you now. Or is it just me? No, I think she's still on this meeting because she has left. Okay, just give me a second. If I can reach her.
Hello. Okay, I'm back. It's not network. Sorry, it's a call. I was
Okay,
using. Yeah, sorry, it was a call. I wanted
okay.
to use my Wi-Fi to avoid that, but my Wi-Fi is misbehaving, so I just left it, and then my phone was performing better today. So sorry for that distraction. So, okay, as I was explaining, the max width we set it to 100% so that our screen would look, our image will not scale above 100%. So we use max width.
You can't see your screen, ma.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay. So we use max width. The image, we'll set it to 100 max width, and this is the syntax. So that our image will not scale above 100%, but it can scale down if it has to, but it will not scale above. And then we'll leave a height auto, so you can check it out. Maybe an example. Okay, let's check our browser. Okay, this bar. Okay, it won't go above. It won't go above, irrespective of. You can see our image. Our image will not go above 100%. See this space that is here. So, but we can scale down and it will still look fluid. So that's the beauty of responsive design. I think when initially we touched things like we did background image, we did background. Is it this class or another set of people? Can't remember. I think yes, we did it now. Repeat. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. It's here. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did it. So I don't want
First
to really
class.
go. Yeah. So I was not sure whether it was the other set of people did. So yeah, we did it. So all those background image, all those. I don't want to start going through all those things because of time. I want us to, cover something. Do an example, like a solid example, so that you know we are ready. We are ready. We have done something. Now we'll stay here and then keep wasting time. So what we're going to be treating, I wanted to take grid first, but because of I want to do it, I'll take Flexbox first. So I explained, the display properties that we use for responsive design. After talking about the unit, we talked about media queries. Media queries, we explained the whole everything and then syntax. And then we talked about some properties, which now we're going to be looking at flex and grid, display flex, display grid. So flex container, flex is just, I hope we understand the box model. Very, very important though. So first of all, we'll talk about using Flexbox. We already know that is a display property. And it's just, when we say Flexbox, it means that we need a flex container first. And look, like I used here, let me just use 3. Let me use 3 for now. Let me use 3 for now. Okay, so there must be a flex container, which is like the parent element, and all these divs here now are just children. So we have our flex container, and then how we use Flexbox first. When we create our flex container, we give it a class. Then let's say flex container. Okay. And these divs now, I would love to use reviews. So let me just look for some reviews of a certain product, because I want to create cards, 3 different cards. We're going to design it, then make them look fine. So let me look for reviews of a particular product. I didn't, this is not the example I actually wanted to use, but some of these things, just inspiration just
comes to your mind and just learning is also fluid. Oh, this one they're speaking too much. Cabbage. Okay, my husband and I went for a dinner in restaurant X and we really enjoyed. Okay, we were delighted because they eat food. Hmm. Okay, so let me give space. In our second div, let's also get its own review. Okay, this one is the ingredients. Okay, all right. And then the last but not the least, if you're looking for a phenomenal dining experience, looking for that. Ha, 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 ha. Okay. Okay, and this is the last reading for now because we have a goal. Okay, if we save and then let's check out our browser. You can see how everything looks. Let me clear this browser, please. I wanted to use Chrome, but it's not opening in live server. I want to use Chrome. I want to use Chrome.
Amara, is this your network again?
Maybe she's on call.
Oh. Okay, let's just wait for some minutes and see what. Oh, she has still not come. Oh. Let me reach out to her and see what's up. So, guys, I've spoken to Amara now. I just got off the phone with her. So she's still trying to join the meeting. The issue is because of there is an issue in her network. So she's still working on it. So she will join us soon as possible. Let's just exercise a little bit of patience. I'm sure she will join soon. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. So I still had a network. I still had network issue, and I don't know what happened. My browser refused to load, so I have to use another browser, and it worked. So I don't know, where did I stop, please?
That side.
Which salvation is that side again? Where did I stop? I want to know when I got cut off. Please, someone should answer me. Where was I?
When you, I think reviews, yes, div reviews when you are pasting those stuff that you copied online.
Okay. This. So if you can just go and copy anything, something like that, anything at all, you know. And then okay, we're trying to explain Flexbox. I just pray that this network just respects itself, and then we are done, so everything just goes smoothly. So okay, over to what we're doing. So this is how it looks on our browser. It looks, somehow. And I want to use let's use Flexbox to make everything look good. Want it to look good. Want it to look good. So we're going to be using the property flex on our styling sheet, on our style sheet. Okay, display would, we gave a class of flex container. So we'll call our class flex container, and we'll use display flex. And then when we save, can we see what happened to they are now lined side by side to each other. So let me give it let me give them all these other things are not necessary now. So let me just remove them. Abi? So let me give the div, since it's just one, is it yeah, it's div. Let me give it a font size. Sorry. Let's say font size of, let me say 1.5 1.5 let me see what we got. Still 5 okay. And let's say want each div to take up a width of 25%. Okay. Oh, no, this is not going to work. No, it's something I should have done first. So they have actually given it a font size, so we can see how it's looking. Let's give it a font family. I'm supposed to have been doing all these things maybe on the body, but this is just for the example. Let's look for this. Let's go with this. Okay. So we know what this font family does and how it operates. Some browsers don't that we don't leave one. I believe that we know all those other things. And let's give it margin and padding. Let me do this instead. Sorry. Yeah. I know that we must have treated specificity, specificity in CSS prior to now. So we're headed somewhere. But if you don't understand, maybe when you read about it, to clear it, you clear for your eye. So I think we'll give it a padding and margin. Margin, let's say 20 pixels.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, the flex container, you can give it a gap of maybe 20 pixels so that you can space them out.
You know that yes, this is just our first example. So I know where you're going to. So let's just stay here, because we have not gotten there. So people will not get confused. I don't really appreciate what I'm saying. But let's just leave it for now. We have not reached that place. Let me reduce this to 0.9. It's too big. Okay, no. 1. Volume ready 1.1. Okay, this one is better. It's better. So some things we have not yet touched. So this is just the literal explanation, literal thing I wanted to do for flex. So for flex, we were able to make them we have flex them. So this is just the basic of what we have learned. But let me give you a knowledge to this thing. Normally on desktop like this is how everything is just lying like this. But we find out that on phone, your mobile phone, it will stack on top of each other. But we'll look at it as we go forward, because there are some more properties under flex that we have not treated. So let's just move ahead for now. I think this is just the basis for now. So let's look at ahead. So the next thing, let me just explain the code. Let
Revelation.
me just go through. Yeah, go ahead.
Flex. What if we have more than one div according to what the code you wrote in this your HTML? I think you're having
More
like
than
three. You're having like three divs,
yes,
right? What if you have like five? Will it still arrange it side by side, or it will break it
yes.
to the next line?
Okay. We have some properties. There's the wrap property, there's unwrap property. Some of all these properties are going to be looking at them. Now, this question is a very intelligent question. We're going to be looking at them as we move ahead. But we have what we call wrap and unwrap. So, but for now, if it's 5, it's going to cluster together. It's going to be there available as long as it's not overpowering, where it will now move over, it will now move down. But just for now, if you put 5 divs there, they will all display. So we want to look at some of all those properties so that you understand. Your question now will be answered now as we look at some other properties. So the next property we are going to be looking at is flex direction. Flex direction. Let's follow. Flex direction. Okay. So you can see that our flex direction is in a row. Abi is in a row. This is what we call flex direction. Is our flex direction is in a row automatically by default. When we use display flex, to just display whatever our content into a row. But in a case where we want it to display in a column, want it to display column reverse. You know what column reverse is? Just by the name, we want it to display row reverse. Let's play with it. Let's play with it. Okay, we'll go back to our CSS, and over here in the flex container class, we want our flex direction to be in a column rather than being in row. Can you see now that they are now stacked on top of each other? They are no
Yes.
longer lying side by side. Okay, so this thing now, it works. I don't know whether to use this thing now. It doesn't look really nice. It doesn't really look nice. It could be an image. This thing could be an image. It could be something. There's an example I wanted to use, but I said, okay, let me use this one. So in a case where let's reduce our browser. Can you see now? Normally, if you think back now, for example, most of the pages you go through, either for you see the in the review part, you can see that this is normally how they are stacked. They look like this. Are you getting what I'm saying? They look like this normally. These are the look normally, except for your phone. Now if you're looking through a website, maybe you're looking at the review of the product, there's an image, maybe there's an image of the person, then this is the review, then the image of the person. So this is how normally you see it in your on mobile. I'm getting somewhere. That's how normally you see it on mobile. But on desktop, normally you now see it by default on, like, arranged in a row. So we want to put this thing now into use in our this thing, in our media query. So instead of us using, okay, let's leave it as display flex. Okay, and note that you cannot use the flex direction property without using display flex. You not come and write flex direction somewhere. You know, you must first indicate to the browser first that you are using the display flex property. Then after indicating to the browser that, oh, it is display flex I'm using, then you now indicate again that you want your flex direction to go however you want it. So let's go to our Mac suite, and let's use display flex, and then sorry, and then we'll now say flex direction, want it to be, let's say, column. What we did now is a practical thing. On our desktop, we are telling the browser, let it be flex, let them be side by side. Okay, sorry, let them be side by side. Let me see whether I'm still here in the meeting. Okay, so let them be side by side, but on the screen lower than 500 pixels. Why is this still together? I did something wrong. 500 pixels too small. It's supposed to flex now. What's happening? Oh no, sorry. Oh, sorry. It's supposed to be this class I'm supposed to use. So this debugging. It's also showing me something. Is this where is it coming from? Okay, that's corrected. So I just found my bug. Which one is this one again? Okay. Okay. I told my browser initially I'm working for, let's assume I built for desktop first, and I said display to be flex. I set it to be flex. Then I'm not telling the browser at maximum width, that means at 500 pixels and below, let the flex direction be column. Okay, you can see now that 500 pixels and below is actually a column, but once I increase above 500 pixels, it turns back to the default, which is row. So this is normally what you'll be seeing if you open any website. Just open any website, maybe after the class, and just look at how these things work. You understand? So this is why we use all these properties, why we have all these properties. So I wanted to be very, very, very practical. So let's go over the other properties, the other values for flex direction. We have, excuse me, we have let's use here flex direction. We can use column reverse. That means whatever that is on the bottom will come up, whatever is at the bottom will go down. Right? Column reverse. No, that's not reverse. Column reverse, column reverse. Okay, sorry, it's supposed to be
The column reverse
like this.
is on screen.
I
Yeah.
use it here. Yeah. Thank you. So you can see that everything reversed. Everything now went. The ones they now like the first now became the last. I know because it's just three, so it was just like everything just changed numbering. Two will still remain two because they are just three here. Maybe they're more than three. Then when you have row reverse, so we can also use row reverse. We have other values. We have row reverse. Sorry, row reverse, row reverse. So it was the same thing that happened. What was last now become first, and then it's just reversed. Sorry. So now what we will now start counting. What was now the last will now become first. What was now the last but one will now become second. Just like that, up to the first one that will become the last. So we have looked at. We have also row. Like I said, the default is row, but you can still indicate it to be row. It's still the same thing because the default is row. Okay, so it's still the same thing. Then these are the main ones we should look at. So the next thing we'll be looking at is the flex wrap property. I love that somebody asked that question, and that your question will be answered now. The flex wrap property specifies whether the items will wrap or not. I cannot use the same example. This example, let me use. I have to write some other code so that it will be very beneficial to all of us. So let me give div. This is my parent div. These are parents parenting because there's already a flex listing. And I want like 12, so this asterisk. So this example now I want to use. Let me just decorate it. Okay. Let's check our price. Okay, our numbering is there. So let me just quickly style these things. That for easy explanation. Okay. So we use parent, right? And then let's use display, reflex, and then let's leave it first. Let me decorate sorry, design or this style, the div. The div. Okay, let me give it the background color. Green and brown. I like brown. I don't like brown. Okay. Hey. My heart. My heart belongs to you.
Why don't? Let's see what we are doing. Okay. Okay. No. Is there I should have given this background brown. And there's a shorthand way of writing CSS properties. For example, if I want to write background color, instead of me typing the entire background color, once I just type BC red, no, this one is not working. But if I type BC, I don't know what red is in this thing. But if, for example, if it's padding, if it's P, once I type P14, it will just automatically give me padding 14 pixels. Even the same thing for margin. These are some image features or whatever. For example, now this background color is supposed to be BC. Then if I know, I'll not put the hash and every other thing. So it's brown that I want here. Then here we should be wheat meat, white smoke. I'll manage you there. Okay. Let's see what we have here. It's not giving me what I want. Something is missing. Okay, but before we continue, can you see that our our code now exceeded the size of the page? Can you see that the person asked that question, that will he go to the next line? Will it, what's the language?
Will it break?
Will it
Will
will
you
it
wrap?
break? Yeah, it's break. Yeah, or wrap, whatever. Will it break? But you see that it did not break. Oh, it continued. Look at where it is. It continued. And you can see that, imagine you open a browser and you see this kind of thing. You just ask yourself, was in this developer? Not the sure my honey. Like, is the person sure of what he's doing? So that's where this wrap property comes to play. Yep. Wait, let me check something. Is this line right? Let me just give a shot. I'm not sure it will just cost like that. Yeah. I love the fact that you are following. It's still giving nonsense. What's going on? There's something I'm missing. There's something I'm missing. Okay.
Isn't that magic padding?
You said? I didn't hear you.
I was asking. I said the margin you have there was using not padding, like you saw that the space.
They I didn't come again. I didn't understand what you said.
Try changing the margin to padding. See if maybe that's what you're looking for.
Okay, they margin to padding. I doubt is the problem, but let me do that. It has something to do with the heat is 100%. Why is it not now showing? Please let this not distract us. Let's just know when I see what's wrong out. Let us know. So the flex wrap property. Sorry, flex wrap property is what we're going to use here. Flex wrap. You can see that it's stretched. If we can either use wrap. Let's use wrap first. Okay, yeah. It was because it was overextended. That's why it was behaving like that. Nice. Can we see how this thing is looking good? Are we here?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. So you can see how it's looking good. But if we now know if you don't want wrap, we can do no wrap. Maybe for example, if you're sure that it's just maybe 3 or something, you can or however you want to use it. Like you can see now that it has now stretched, and because of this stretch, everything is now looking somehow. It has exceeded the what is available to us. So because it's not available to us, it's now looking somehow. It's not looking good. So you can see now everything is looking great. Let's see where we okay because we did not can we see? Can we see what's happening? No. When we change the size of the browser because of this wrap property, it's aligning itself. You can see now it's now 2:2 because the browser the screen can contain 2. My browser is slow, so it's now 3 because the screen can contain 3. So it's just wrapping accordingly. So you can see now we get the point now. I believe that we get the point.
Yeah, rap is the best.
Yeah. So it's just wrapping well. So I think that person that asked that question is being cleared. And then we can now move on to the next. We also have wrap. We have done no wrap. Sorry, it's supposed to be no wrap, not no hyphen wrap. We have wrap reverse. You can see what wrap reverse did. You see, it reversed everything. So you can just do it yourself. Wrap reverse. Here was one before. 1, 2, 3, 4. But look at where now one is. So this is also one of the properties. So we're moving ahead. I think that this one is so clear. Its
I
responsive
have a
design is
question,
not
please.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. What about a situation whereby maybe one or two of the numbers doesn't have the same, let's say, weight as others? Let's say number 4, 5, and 7, maybe different size, unlike others.
Okay. I think the width, I don't know. Are they different? Are they different?
No, they are not. I'm just asking, like, what if we have a situation that we have to differentiate maybe 2 or 3 of the numbers? Maybe
Okay, with
7
different
is
widths.
bigger, yeah, in width or height or something, yeah. And we still want to wrap it to maintain that same screen dimension.
I think I understand what you're saying, but there's a property we are going to look at much later.
Okay.
That will take care of that. Yeah. So let's go back to the next one. Okay, it's not really the next one, it's combination. What we call shorthand. We're looking at direction. Oh my. Okay, are we here? Yeah. So that remember to come now. Okay, I'm still here. So we're going to be looking at a property, another property that is like the shorthand for flex direction and flex wrap. So that property is flex flow, flex flow. So instead of us indicating this flex wrap and flex direction, we just use flex flow, and then we indicate our direction. We want it to still be row, and then maybe row reverse, and then wrap. However I want it. So it still gave me the same thing. So this flex flow now is the shorthand for flex direction and flex wrap, right? Flex direction and flex wrap. Right? Yes, flex direction and flex wrap. So we're now moving over to the next property. The next property we're going to be looking at is justify content. So what justify content does is for alignment of the flex items, and we know what the flex items are. These are the flex items. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4 down to 12. These are the flex items. So we use justify content for the flex items. So with justify content, we have different properties. We are going to be looking at some of them maybe later because of time. We have already gone far, not so far, but we'll likely have to continue tomorrow because of how big these two topics are. So and all. So this justify content, like I said, is for the items in the flex container. So we could use normally center. Let's try out center first of all. There are different values. There are different values. There are different values. Let's try out flex stats. So the center will align the items at the center. The flex start will align the items at the beginning of the container. Wait, what do I use now? Flex start. We also have flex end. We have okay, okay, okay. We have space around. We have space between. These properties. This space around. Let me check it out. You know this stuff. If all these changes now, they may not misunderstand themselves. Space between. So some of all these values, they are actually used. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let me remove this property. Oh boy. And then so let me reduce this thing so that it would to be clearer. I have to reduce the number. Sorry. Okay, since they are no longer much. Sorry, why am I even going here, sir? Okay, since they are no longer much, I want to show you this property so we'll understand, we'll see what's happening. Because they are much, you may not be seeing the effect of what's going on. So this space between now, what this space between does is that these flex items here, like this, the 1, 2, and 3, there will not be space between the lines. You understand? So for space around, let's see what space around will look like. Okay, can we see around it now? You can see the change. Let's look at flex start. Have we? Flex start. Yeah. Flex start. And we see that it now started from 1. That means the container itself. You understand? It started, you can see how it started from 1. There's no like spacing. It started from here, flex start, the beginning of the container. So if we say what's that one? Flex end. So that one. These are things you can play with, to understand the concepts more. Can you see that I went to the end? Which other one have we not looked at? Flex end, flex start, center. Center. Remember I said justify content is for the LA items. Oh, excuse me. It's just align the flex items for the items, flex items. So if we use center, let's see what it will look like. You can see that it's now in the center. Okay. So let me wipe over here sef. Okay, but still here. Knowing that I've moved me. So that so we can see we have touched virtually all the values of justify content. So the next one we're going to be looking at is align items. Align items. So this align items property, we use it to align the flex items. We use justify content to align the flex items. But the difference is one is for horizontal and the other one is for vertical. Are we getting it? Are we there? One is horizontally and the other one is vertically. So you may be wondering, this is what justify content will center, align items center. So what it does is it aligns it both horizontally and then vertically too. Yeah. So okay. So just like justify content, we have align items. Sorry. You have to look. You will discover that one by yourself. Our advice that you clear your page and just leave. Sorry. Maybe leave these last ones. This last one I was using as an example. And then let's say center.
Okay. In the middle of the center. So, mm, this. I want to move ahead. I want to move ahead. So for these aligned items, there's some of the other properties include center, flex, uh, sorry, center. Let me even see center, center. It's just center. Flex start, flex end, stretch, and then this baseline. This baseline. Somebody asked. I think somebody asked a question that, what if we have different widths of Abi different widths um of divs, and then we want to know whether they will wrap or they will not wrap, or how they will look. Abi, I think somebody asked that question. Any confusion? Let me know whether you are getting what I've been explaining, or should I just continue? But if there's no sense we're not understanding, and then we continue, because you still be giving assess assignment, and then you still be struggling. So there's no need for us to go on. Any questions? I don't normally read the chat, so that's why I tell people
I have a
to
question.
unmute. Yeah.
Please, can I go on?
Yeah, go ahead. I said if you have any question.
Okay, all right. I want to assume, but I don't know if I'm right.
Okay.
Since we have flex wrap, is it still
Uh,
important we we um we input the query media or screen size of minimum as you've written it?
yeah,
I
I
don't know.
get. I perfectly understand what you're saying. I perfectly
Okay.
understand. Yeah. So it's still important that maybe for our media queries we could use um, wrap. You now use wrap in your media query. We don't just have flex. We have also grid. We have grid too. So it's also important that you use maybe for your mobile first. It's better. In real life application, whatever you're building in real life, since you're building for mobile first, you will use flex. You use flex column. Then it is when you're using maybe for desktop, you can now use flex. Default is row, and then you now use wrap. For example, for screens, for bigger screens, you now use that wrap on. But it's still, nothing is wrong, nothing is really correct. As you develop, you get to know more things, you get to know things better. But yeah, you can use it, but I will not advise, because I'm still thinking. It's just better you use flex column. Then for bigger screens, you now use row, and then you can now impute that wrap. But you leaving it just wrap. For if you're building for mobile first, you can leave it at wrap, but just use column. Then for bigger screens, you now use row, and then wrap. It will now help it look better. Yeah, you're right. You're right too. You're right. So, any other questions?
Sorry, please, can you come again?
Okay, come again from where?
Um,
Is it wrap?
About the rap and something, yeah, the mobile rap, something like that. I don't
Yes,
really
I
get
said
that part.
yes. Okay, he asked. I think the question he asked is instead of using specifying um, specifying row and column, right? Let's just use wrap. And I said it can work. 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 Yeah, it can work. I said, but
Okay.
yeah, it can work. But at the same time, I will just for me, I prefer to use column, specify column for mobile because I'm building for my mobile first, and then at other screens
Oh,
bigger
sorry.
than
I
my
don't know.
mobile.
Maybe you didn't get my question right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, my point is,
Eh.
is it not possible we just leave our flex at wrap? Since I think wrap is self-adjusting, it can adapt to any screen
Yeah, that's
size.
what I'm saying. I think yes. I said yes, yes, it can, yes. But we did it here now, it work. I say yes. I
Oh,
said yes.
all right.
Mm, but at the same time, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about padding. I'm thinking about margin. So all these things now will still have to come into play.
Okay, okay. All right.
Yes, yes, because they have to still come into play. So it's something that maybe when I try out, then the next class, because we are working with the margin of the margin. So, but it should work. It should work very well. It should work very well. So any other questions? I didn't add padding. I don't read chat, so I just open the chat now. Somebody saying me running away, running to your point. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, let's move ahead. So for because of time, I would love because of time, I would love us to manage our time so that we can finish this flex today. Then maybe tomorrow we'll now look at grid. Um, mm, okay. We want to be looking at the align content property. Okay. This align content property is responsible for our flex lines for equal spacing between them. I think somebody already mentioned that before. I was like, okay, when we get there, when we get there. Abi? So this align content property is used to align the flex lines. And we'll now use wrap. Okay, let me align content, align content, align content, align content, align content. So as you can see that there are different values. We have the center, we have space between, space around, stretch, center, flex start, and flex end. Okay, there's a game I want to drop here. Let me send this game now. that I've remembered it. And Flex Froggy or something. These are games that will help you understand. Just give me a few minutes. Just give me a few minutes. Okay. So I'll send it here. Okay. Looking for where I kept this village. I sent it to somebody recently. Oh God. Okay, I can't. There are some games that I played when I was still starting out. I want to send it here so I will not forget. Because it's a Flex Froggy game. If you can cover the 40 levels, you would you at least for the basics. You would know the basics, understand everything, how they are going. Because it's just like you're positioning the frog. But you must know it though before you play the game. I can't find it, but I'll keep looking for it. Let's just go ahead. So this align content now, it actually modifies the behavior of the flex wrap property. So it's also similar to align items, but instead of aligning the flex items, it focuses on the what flex lines. That's why we don't use this. These things are very, very vital. And I was telling us before that align items and align and justify content is as if they are performing the same thing, but it's different. I told us that one actually aligns our items horizontally and the other one does it vertically. So justify content aligns horizontally the flex items. So we know what horizontally is now. From from south, east and west. From west to east horizontally. So depending on what you want, whether you want it to be centered, you want it to flex start, flex end, or whatever. Then for align items vertically, so it vertically aligns our flex items. So yeah, flex direction, it specifies the direction we are going. Then flex flow is the shorthand for flex direction and flex wrap. And then align content is for the behavior of the flex lines. So this thing now, I would love us. I'm really looking for that game because we're about rounding up. So
Prisma,
yeah.
can you like explain that align content and item and justify content, the three of them, like the major difference?
Okay. 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 So for align items, it aligns the flex. These are what we call the flex items. This is div 1, div 2, div 3. So it aligns these items. Align items aligns the items vertically. Vertically. So the value could be center, it could be flex start, flex end, however you want, the direction you want. Therefore, the justified content, it aligns the items horizontally. So you can check it out like with what we have done. Check it out what we have done. If you're using the full screen, you'll be able to see what I'm saying. Let me let me comment this thing once. No. Okay. So now you can actually by yourself, I said let's save it. Everything is looking. So you can actually use align items however you like it to check this thing out. This is something more of a practical work. So that you sit down and understand it yourself. For example, I want center. So this thing will align, I align it vertically at the center. So we have space between. Mhm. Center, sorry, flex start. Sorry, flex start. Chimejula. So and then the last property we have is no, not the last. We have flex start, flex end, and baseline. So if we want everything based on our parent div, everything centered, like it very in the middle, we can use align item center or justify content also be centered. We can see how everything is now aligned both horizontally and vertically. Do we see what happened? Everything is aligned now horizontally and vertically. So what this is going to help you now, because for example you're creating cards that were review that thing I commented out. If I want to use it now to make it, I'll give it a box shadow, some things. Let me touch it a bit as we are rounding up. Mm. I want to justify the content to center and want to align. So you can see everything both up and down are both aligned. I want to give them, so I want to give the cards, each of the divs box shadow. Is a normally a favorite one of, I don't know, to this box shadow thing. I don't. There's a standard I normally copy from somewhere. Let me look for. Let me look online for box shadow. So we don't have all these things stored up in our head. So it's taking time. I don't know why. I know I'm doing this because the assignment is going to be a bit tough. It's going to be a bit tough. So you have to understand how these things are working. This one is not loading. Maybe people are still here. Mhm. Okay. 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 So this one, let me copy it. It's just there. So let's put our document. Okay. Can we see our cards? How they are now looking? They look nice. They look better now. Let me see if I can get images and add these images here. So let me make sure that I've gone through most. Oh my god, now there's still work to do. There's so much work seems to learn. Okay, so this one you did or maybe on your own. You can just play with some of these things and maybe add an image to our reviews. Then use the border radius, give the image 50% so it becomes rounded, and then we have our reviews available. Touch some things just to make it look good. And then some of all this, I'm looking for that game. I haven't seen it yet. So once I see it, I'll send it. I played the game. God. And it helped me.
Someone sent a link on
Probably.
the chat
Hello,
if
ma.
it's
Yeah.
presentation.
Okay, ma, I have a question.
Okay.
Like as the second div that you did, that is the parents one you talked about.
Mm.
I was actually using Lorem tab, that Lorem that right up. So I used it
Yes,
in
yes.
6 places, and
Okay.
no, not 6 places, 9 places. Then
Okay.
after that, I imputed display on my parents this thing, then flex wrap, but the thing was not like putting no wrap. The thing was not actually wrapping, like doing those things that it will be like stacking up. Do you understand? Then I have to go down and saw what you did in adding the div, then giving them a width of 105. That's when it started wrapping. So I don't know if you didn't give it a width, it won't work.
Okay, if I understood you clearly. If I understood you clearly. You know, there's a way coding is. If you
Hmm.
leave if you leave out, giving it a width, you said it didn't work, right?
Yeah, I didn't give it a width, but I imputed it in flex wrap. Like no, I don't know how to explain this thing.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. You didn't give it a weight. Okay,
Yes.
let's okay, then give it this weight, Abby. Let me understand what you're saying. Abi, this is what you mean. If you didn't
Yes.
give it a weight, or you can see
Ye-
my screen now. If you
Yes,
didn't
yes,
give
I
it a
can
weight,
see. Uh,
you see how it's looking.
uh,
You see how it's looking. So it's why I gave the what I'm giving the weight is this
mm,
div here. What I'm you see these divs that are here. Excuse me.
yes.
These divs here. This is what I'm giving weight, so that it looks better. You know, when we are styling, you're not just styling maybe to test out this property, it's also for aesthetic use. You understand? So it looks good. So that's why I gave it a weight.
Okay.
So it looks better. So your question, come again with your question.
I said, like
Mm,
after the flex wrap, the flex wrap, I imputed wrap. It will wrap.
okay.
But
Yes. Mm-hmm.
giving it a width, then it will be stacking up like the divs will be will be stacking to under each other as the width is decreasing.
Okay, can you share your screen? Let me understand what you're saying.
Not using my system, I'm using my phone, but I'm on my system.
Okay. So it will be stacking. It will be stacking like columns or something.
Yes, it will be stacking like columns. It will have like two columns.
Two columns.
Yes.
Did you give your content a font to use?
No. I didn't give it any font. I'm just using the
The
normal
default.
font. Yeah, the default.
Yeah. You know, some of all these things you have to do them. You know, Flex is nice. But for if you just jump to using Flex, it's not going to it's not going to make sense. So that's why I use the font. I gave the div items a width, gave imagine some of all those other properties. But me, I don't still even understand the stacking. You know, it would have been better if you are showing, if we are seeing it, and then we'll be able to address it together.
Okay, no problem. Maybe by next class I will try and use my system and do it so that
Yeah,
I can.
tomorrow. You know,
Yeah,
tomorrow we still have to.
yeah. I think maybe he didn't use class or something. Maybe he just declared the div
No,
or
I
neutrally.
use
Okay,
class. I use class. The thing is that I was using lorem tabs then
okay,
to like in the parents, then I used like 9 divs. Then the 9
Mm-hmm.
divs now, the default is row.
okay,
Then
Yes.
flex wrap. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It won't wrap because it will be in just a row, making your screen to extend to the other side. Then I
Mm-hmm.
used wrap. It will wrap, but it's just in a column, like in one column.
okay,
Then, but when I went down to the div, the parent this thing, then target the divs, then gave it a width of the 100 or 105 pixels. Then
okay.
is now, as I'm expanding, the width is stacking, like is now the divs are now coming up to be in a
Uh,
single file.
okay, okay.
Okay. Let me to explain a little. If I understood, I will not say I understood it perfectly, but I think I get the bit what you're saying. You know that the elements you're the sorry yes the whatever you're wrapping, the items you're wrapping,
Mm,
the width or like the space they are taking up, it also affects how it wraps. Just like we used 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, is wrapping
yes.
smoothly because the content is small. But if you use that lorem whatever, I think the content will be actually, much bigger.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Ma,
it will be
exactly.
bigger.
instead of this thing taking our time, maybe in the next class I will
Okay, no problem. No problem. So there's something I want to look at before we call it a day. Ah, yeah, that flex box. Yes, that flex box there, but there are more than one. There are more than one that I have. That flex box frog. Yes, it's the game. It's the game. So that game is good. I don't know where I pasted the rest. So let's move ahead. Okay. Okay. So want to look at some other properties. This one is a bit dicey. This other flex grow, flex basis, flex green, shrink, and all that. Time is gone. Our time is gone. I don't
Yes,
want to
10:20.
rush. Yeah, our time is gone. Yeah, 10:20. Right. So I'll give people a little assignment. We're going to meet tomorrow, same time tomorrow, so that we'll just come look at that assignment, and then we'll just move to grid. We have to touch grid, and then before we will now give people the main assignment people are supposed to do. So let's be on time tomorrow, because our instructor cannot be not like our instructor, our host cannot be here waiting for us. Doesn't even make sense at all. Doesn't make sense. So please, let's behave ourselves, respect ourselves, and be on time. So for our later assignment this night, I want us to let me type them in the chat. Study order, flex grow, flex shrink, flex basis, and align self. These things are very simple. Okay, so please let's. Okay, so um let's look at these properties. This is the game, but I've not found. Once I find the game, I'll find the remaining. There are like three or four, and then I'll drop it on our Discord page. So any questions so far? So while studying all this, I want us to, because we have most. So you see our cards, these three cards. I would love us to use the same content. Maybe you pick one, anyone you like, or try to just look exactly the same. Then there'll be an image. The image should be here. It should have space, you know, and maybe border radius 50%. So when we come tomorrow, we meet tomorrow, we just rush through what I gave you to read now your own, and then move over to CSS grid. So in the absence of that, any other questions before we call it a day? Any questions?
So we can get this thing from the CSS
If
generator.
there are no questions,
No?
I'm not here. Yes, yes. Yeah, I don't know that it's proper for people since people are just starting. So if you guys can just use it, but it's good to understand it, understand the basis first, understand what CSS Block Shadow is doing before you use it. Okay, so yeah, you can get my slides. I should drop them on the Discord. I should drop them on the Discord. Okay, so any other questions before we call it a day? Okay. In the absence of no questions.
Well, I want to say a few things before we can leave.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much, first of all, to Amara. Thank you so much for the session. It was very, very informative and long,
Okay.
but well, that is actually fine. So, but what I wanted to
Yeah.
address is something that I've already said since the beginning of this meeting, which is as regards the assignment submission. First of all, let's keep that aside first. But we are looking at, I'm looking at people joining the meeting, and the number is not really something to write home about. Like I said before, we have at least 100 to 200 people for just this particular web development session. And I do not get why people do not join the sessions. I do not get why we have 40. At some point, the highest number here was 56, and 56 is way less than 200. So please, like Amara has said, when we are attending these classes, let's just not plan to attend. Let's plan to attend on time. It's important. And second, as regard the assignments. So what is going to happen for the tax for assignment is that I would open the link. I would open the link probably this night before I go to bed, and to be open for some time. So please, if you have not submitted, I'm begging in the name of God, please try and submit as fast as possible. I'm saying this because I do not know when I intend to close it. But whenever you see the link is open, if you can submit, please submit your assignment. So thank you all. I think Rita, I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, not really on that. Not really about question. Well, it was as the assignment because my system is faulty, so I couldn't finish it, and it has been at the mechanic. So I was like, if it will be extended, but you've already said that.
All right. No problem. So I'll open the link and I'll tell you guys, I'll inform you when it's open. So please, I'm begging you, please, let's just try to do it as soon as possible. Let's just try to do it as soon as possible. And in the absence of any other thing, I just think we can end the call and see you guys next time we see.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.